The state of Jammu and Kashmir has historically been an independent state in the United India. In the year 1947, when India was partitioned, the state of Jammu and Kashmir was also divided. Pakistan and India have fought 3 wars to prove their ownership of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, the occupier of Jammu and Kashmir did not give anything to the Kashmiris except looting and political manipulation, but kept sabotaging every struggle for people's right. India occupied a large part of Jammu and Kashmir, including Ladakh, Jammu and the valley by force, while the people of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, 2 areas liberated by the locals, but were trapped in a political cycle in such a way that these areas did not even have the status of a base camp, and today the people are protesting. The first war was fought between Pakistan and India in 1947, the second in 1965, and the third war in 1999 to take control of different areas of Kashmir. Even after the Kargil War of 1999, thousands of times on the ceasefire line between Azad and occupied Kashmir, the 2 armies fired at each other, causing heavy loss of life and property on both sides. Then the ceasefire has been fired. The public movement started with the declaration of 4th of October 1947, finally established a representative government of the state of Jammu and Kashmir in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, was declared a part of this government. After Karachi happened, as a result of the Gilgit-Baltistan, the responsibility taken over the administration was given to the government of Pakistan. On the other hand, a political process started in Indian-occupied Kashmir, due to which a government was formed there under the supervision of Karan Singh and Sheikh Abdullah. When the conflict between Pakistan and India escalated over Kashmir, India approached the United Nations, and the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution to resolve the Kashmir issue through a referendum. On the resolution, India stubbornly did not allow the referendum to take place till today, while illegally making its occupied territories even its constitutional part. In order to crush the strong opposition of Kashmiris, India committed atrocities which have no precedent in history. Around 700,000 Indian security forces have massacred around 100,000 Kashmiris so far. About 22,000 people were imprisoned, more than 15,000 houses and other buildings were destroyed, more than 22,000 widows and more than 20,000 orphans and more than 11,000 women were raped. There is evidence of atrocities. Indian forces have implemented black laws in occupied Kashmir to crush the freedom movement. The extrajudicial execution of more than 7,000 people is a proof of these black laws. For more than 76 years in occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the persecution of Kashmiris has been going on. Earlier on February 11, 1984, the Indian government hanged Muhammad Maqbool Bhatt, the freedom-loving revolutionary leader of the state of Jammu, and instead of handing over his body to his heirs, his body was buried in the premises of Tihar jail, and it is still there today. Many famous and prominent personalities have been detained for decades. The separatist Hurriyat leader following the path of Maqbool Bhatt Shaheed have been imprisoned in Indian jails for many years. Indian courts have sentenced them to life imprisonment. In the 90s, where the Kashmiris drew the attention of the international community to occupied Kashmir through military struggle. They left the military struggle and started a peaceful political struggle at the request of the Indian political leadership and intellectuals. Lecturer on his theory of freedom Kashmir continued to present with arguments. Leaders of the political struggle for the freedom of Jammu Kashmir, including other prominent leaders, are imprisoned in Indian jails. Raising their voice against these atrocities of India, the people of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan have drawn the world attention to the humanitarian atrocities of occupied Kashmir by holding protests, rallies and seminars. In Azad Kashmir, many times thousands of people marched to break the ceasefire line. When the Kashmiris tried to break the ceasefire line, peaceful protesters were shelled by India, as a result of which many people were marched towards to attract the attention of the international community. Overseas Kashmiris marched in many countries including America, Europe, and protests and seminars are still organized on certain days. Kashmiri freedom organizations are big in Azad Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and occupied Kashmir. Large gatherings do, while on a global scale, Kashmiris have never had an opportunity to bring freedom to Kashmiris, including bringing forward Indian atrocities in Kashmir at the United Nations, OIC and other international forums. On the other hand, while India has illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Azad Kashmir is recognized as the base camp of Azadiya Kashmir movement. Azad Kashmir has its own constitution, its own courts, its own flag, its own anthem, and its own president and prime minister. Kashmir affairs experts and the senior politicians believe that the setup of an economically and politically strong Azad Kashmir is important for the independence movement of occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, this constitution and administrative structure of Azad Kashmir must be further empowered so that the Kashmiri government and the politicians can represent themselves at international forums. The current people movement within Azad Kashmir also has its own status. If the problem of this movement are not resolved, it will have a negative impact on the existence of the state. The role of British Kashmiris is also not hidden from anyone who always stand by the side of the movement, going on both sides of their state and selflessly always stand for the survival of their homeland. And we call this Foundation Day of the October 24th the name of those who fought for the survival of the state and the people's right movement of Azad Kashmir. And the British Kashmiris demand that the movement of people's right cannot be suppressed by force.
सुन लो ऐ दुनिया वालों, इंसाफ अदल के रखवालो, मौसम बीते जीवन बीते, तुम काश न अपने लब सीते, सुन लो ऐ दुनिया